Hey everybody, it's Larry with Leading Edge Industrial, and today we're going to go over positioning and linear movement, specifically the G00 command and the G00 or the G01 command. So to start off, the G00 command is for rapid movements, and it's in any axis or any combination of axes. This is not used for machining, and it's only used for cutting. So what you've seen here on the screen is I've put a pen inside the pen holder or the tool holder, and I've put a piece of hardboard down inside of our clamp. And by the way, this clamp here featured on our video, the clamp will be one of the projects that we'll be releasing here in the next couple of weeks. It's a low profile clamp, and we'll be posting drawings with that and showing you how to make it. So what we have here is we have a small piece of hardboard that's 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. We've got a pen that's in a pen holder, and we're going to hold off on drawing anything, but for right now we're just going to simulate the movements in the X, Y, and Z coordinates. What we've done is we've homed the machine and we brought it down to 1 inch above the work, 1.5 inches above the work, and what I'm going to do is just walk you through what the G00 and the G01 command are. So the first thing is the G00 command on our machine defaults to the fastest speed the machine can move. So our machine can move 90 inches a minute. That's what it's programmed right now, is 90 inches a minute. So I'm going to plug in G00. I'm going to say X. Let's do X 3 inches, and we'll hit enter. Actually, yeah, we'll hit enter. So there you go. So that's 90 inches a minute. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to, now that we are in G00, and G00 is modal. G00 and G001 or G01 are both modal. So once you plug in that number, you don't have to do it over and over again. You don't have to give it that G00 command. You can just plug in your next coordinate. So I want to go back to home. And we are in absolute coordinates here. We're not in relative positioning. I do most of my programming, if not, I would say all of my programming in absolute coordinates, not relative coordinates. So now let's do y minus 3 and y0. Now to get that, that's the door vibrating, because as it moves, it just happens to be right there on that axis there. That's why the camera was shaking a little bit. Let's go ahead and move all 3 axes together. So let's move X 3 point, Y minus 3 point, Z 3 point. And when we hit enter, they'll all move together to the lower right hand corner. Okay, now we're going to go X0, Y0, Z0 and hit enter, and we'll move right back. Alright, so now that's your G00 command. Now the G01 command is used specifically for cutting. What we want to use the G00 command to do is to position above, basically you're moving the tool above the workpiece or from point to point in the case of drilling holes. With G01, you give it a commanded F or a feed rate, and our machine happens to run in inches, so it'll be inches per minute is what we're commanding it to do. So it's essentially the same thing as running the G00. We give it a G01 instead. G01 X 3 point feed rate, let's do 20, and once I hit enter, you'll see it moves much slower. It moves at a specified feed rate, inches per minute. This comes into play as we start doing more projects, and we're going to do some projects here in the future where we're going to explain how to calculate feed rates and also how to calculate spindle speeds. So that'll be a video, look for that here in the near future. Just understand that right now G00 is for rapid moves, G01 is for commanded feed rate or for cutting moves. So I'm going to do the same thing that I just did in the y-axis and then combined all 3 of them together, just as we did before. So y minus 3 inches, Now this one here is just to simulate the moves at a specified feed rate. You wouldn't really program this to go that slow when you were trying to like do a tool change or something like that. Not above the work, only when you're going into the work. So we're going to bring it down to 0. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to program a square, and we're going to have the pen draw the square for us on our hardwood block down there. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our program that I've written, and I'm going to step you through each line. It's going to look very similar to what we've already done, only we're going to change some values on it. So if we turn on our notepad here, there we go. Alright, so what I've done here is I've numbered the lines, and N stands for number, line number, and I have it output in fives, so 5, 10, 15, 20. That way if you need to add a line, you can add that through and you know what line was added at any point that the program was edited. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to step through the program. I don't want you to worry about this line here. This is our header line. Every program needs to have a header line. It basically gives the machine the basic parameters that we're moving. You know, we're using our first fixture position, we're moving on the XY plane, we're moving in absolute coordinates in inch mode, and that's these two here, and then we're receiving our feed rate in inches per minute. I will explain all of these as we go. We're going to build on all of these G&M codes here as we go along, but right now ignore that. And we're going to post a link to in this video to the supported G&M codes that are used by our machines. And then that way, if you want to, you can read ahead and try to understand those or look those up online. So line 5 is we're going to rapid from our machine home position to 1.5 inches above the work. I do 1.5 inches because then it gives me enough room to change or to pull the cap off of the pen. Now we're going to bring it down to 0.1 inches above the work. We're going to wrap it down to 0.1 inch above the work, and then we're going to slowly feed in at 40 inches a minute. And actually I think I'm going to change this. I'm going to leave this because we're feeding down with a pen. I don't want it to slam in there. I'm going to change that to 10. And then we're also going to change this. I noticed yesterday or when I was running this program earlier, that it didn't go far enough on one of the corners. So I want to make sure that we're going to hit the pen far enough on there. Now this one here, we're going to change to Z01. We're going to add and then we're going to make this, why don't we make that 3 inches? We'll make it a 3x3 square, and we're going to change the feed rate on this to 30 inches a minute. So now it'll move a little bit. We're going to slowly feed down, and then we're going to move faster as it cuts around the square that we're going to make. Now we're going to do -3 here, and then we're going to move X back to 0, and then Y up to 0. You don't have to put both coordinates in there because you're already located at X and Y each time you go down. So you only have to do the axis that changes. Then we're going to lift our pen back up to 1.5 inches above the work, and this last line tells the program that we're done. So let's go ahead and save this. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the cap off the pen. Let me turn off this notepad here. I'm going to pull the cap off the pen, and then we're going to go ahead and run the program. By running the program, all we have to do is go to File mode. We're going to do a Browse, and we're going to grab Square 2 because that's the one that we just edited. I'm going to open that program. Oh, and the next thing we have to do, actually, I programmed, right now we're 1.5 inches above the work because while I was running these tests here, while I was showing you how to do the parameters, I wanted to make sure we absolutely didn't crash the machine into the work. So what I want to do is I want to change this from its current position so that it knows that that's actually 1.5 inches above the work. So our Z position is going to have to, so it's a G10 L20. That means G10 is we're going to do a fixture offset. L20 says that we're going to actually make this a coordinate, not an offset from a coordinate. L20 P1 is fixture 1, or a G54, and we're going to set this at Z1.5. Hit enter, and you'll see right here that our coordinate has changed, 1.5. And actually I think what I want to do is I want to move this, I'm going to command, let's move G00, let's do X 0.1 Y minus 0.1. That way when we command our block to do, when we command the square, it actually does it inside the entire workpiece that we have up here. So we'll do a G10 L20 P1 X0 Y0. Hit enter and we're good to go. So now we're going to go back up to our file. We've already selected our file, and at this point, since we're not turning the spindle on, we want the spindle locked, we can go ahead and hit send. And there we go. Now our whole program's run. So go ahead on to video number 2. I forgot to say that this is the first in a 3-part series. We're going to be doing a second video on circular interpolation, counterclockwise and clockwise circles, the G2 and the G3 commands. And then the third video, we're going to combine all of these commands and make a gasket, or a gasket shape. So go ahead and watch video number 2. We're going to link it to below in the description. And if you like what you see here, please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video. Thanks.